friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie Yo 489. Day in the neighborhood. My brothers and sisters, it is that time to get into another one of these true crime, horror, dark, deep, and mysterious what the is going on type of videos. And today, we are going back to my brother from another mother. And that brother is Ryan from Tragedy Tales. Back to Tragedy Tales, y'all, on another Tuesday, a Tragedy Tales Tuesday. Hope y'all doing excelente out there today. And I'm glad that you came on back to the channel once again to fuck with the bean. And the title of the video is Trapped. 5 events turn fatal #2. And it's just so crazy, y'all, how people could be going to these events, you know what I'm saying, going to have a good time, whether it be a freaking concert or a freaking just going out to a club, you know what I'm saying, or going to a baseball game, basketball game, football, whatever, just expecting to go have a good time. Never expecting that when they go to this event, this gonna be the last time that they alive. You know what I'm saying, man? Never expecting that they gonna lose their life going to have a good time at this event. And it's just so crazy, man. And then it's one of those things that can literally happen to any of us. We all go to different events and go enjoy ourselves doing what we like to do. But you never know when it all can be over. But I digress. We finna go and get into the video, my brothers and sisters. But before we get into it, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We back to Ryan from Tragedy Tales. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
A ticket to an event, whether that be a music festival, an air show, or even a parade, it's a promise of joy, unity, and shared experiences. To escape the mundanity of everyday life and to experience something spectacular, if only for a day or two. But with that promise, of course, comes risk. In life, you just never know when something's going to slip, when something's going to break. You just never know when something's going to go terribly wrong. Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Ryan from Tragedy Tales, and this week we're diving straight back into 5 more events that ended up turning fatal. From the air show that twisted into a nightmare, to the infamous love parade that ultimately ended in heartbreak. This week, yet again, I've got entries from all across the world that will leave you in shock. So without any more dilly-dallying, let's get right into it.
Get whatever you may need. And the one event that just seemed the most dangerous to me, y'all, is them freaking concerts where it just be hundreds, sometimes thousands of people just all bunched up on each other. If some ish was to break off, a stampede gonna happen. And when that stampede happens, people gonna die. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like you're looking at ants. You're looking at an ant pile with all those people just so freaking close to each other, man. I don't know. Those freaking concerts with a lot of people around, it always make me nervous. And especially when it's inside. Let's go. Number 5.
When you celebrate your birthday, Usually, you go out with your closest friends, if you're over the age of 18, you share a drink, and you have a good time. Just for one day of the year, it's all about you. Now, the chances of dying on your birthday, of course, are very, very slim, but not impossible. This truly horrific entry begins on the chilly evening of January the 4th, 2019. That evening began with laughter and excitement, but it would quickly spiral completely out of control, turning into the stuff of nightmares. This entry begins on a seemingly ordinary birthday celebration in an escape room in Koszalin, Poland. That day, a group of 5 15-year-old high school students chose the escape room as a fun way to celebrate one of their birthdays. Their names were Julia, Amelia, Gosia, Carolina, and Victoria. They probably thought, a bit of stress, paired with the joy and fun that comes with being with your friends, what's not to like? For a bit of background, this escape room was popular among local thrill seekers. It offered a unique blend of puzzles and challenges set within 4 distinctly themed rooms, designed to engage, challenge, and entice participants. Now, if you're not familiar with escape rooms, where have you been hiding? They're known for their immersive gameplay, typically involving groups of players working together to discover clues, solve puzzles, and accomplish tasks all within a set time limit. The aim of the game is to escape the room. Sounds fun, right? Over the last 10 years, this type of room has popularized globally. However, that day, as the 5 students arrived at the escape venue, only one of the 4 themed rooms was in use. So, after paying their tickets, at approximately 5 PM, they entered the escape room, eager to have some fun.
Now I'm just wondering, y'all, is one of these people gonna get like stuck in the damn room or something, get trapped in something in the room and end up dying? I can't remember who channel it was from, but it was something similar to this that we have heard before, man. Well, they had crawled up in this space that was too small for them because they was adults, you know what I'm saying? And it was meant for kids, and they literally got stuck and couldn't nobody get them out and they died. I'm wondering if somebody finna get stuck. I don't know. Let's go.
As part of the immersive experience, the game's room's windows had been boarded shut for aesthetic purposes, which, while effective for the game's ambience, would later prove deadly. As the group attempted to solve the puzzle in the first room, in another part of the building, a 25-year-old staff member, responsible for overseeing the games, watched through CCTV. As he did so, within minutes of the game's beginning, he began to notice the undeniable scent of gas. Now, this smell instantly caused panic because the entire building was actually being heated by bottled gas. One spark and it'd all be over. In a rush and a bit of a panic, the employee attempted to locate and eliminate the source of the smell, leading him to a waiting room adjacent to the escape rooms. From here, the employee tried to switch off the gas supply, but as he did, the leaking gas suddenly ignited. The situation escalated quickly, and despite his best efforts to control it, within seconds, a wall of flames had appeared and raced up the wall, blocking off access to the games room and the 5 students who were locked inside. Because of the design of the escape room, with its locked doors and boarded windows, the room quickly turned into a fatal death trap. This staff member was unable to unlock the door, and due to the intensity of the flames, he was overcome by smoke and forced to retreat out of the building. Despite the fire service arriving within literally 6 minutes, arriving at 5:21 PM, rescue efforts were hampered by the room's fortified setup. By the time firefighters made their way into the room, they were met with a grim scene. All 5 teenagers had succumbed to asphyxiation, unable to escape the locked room as it filled with smoke.
Oh my Lord, man, that is so terrible, y'all. Can you imagine that? It's ironically terrible that they was literally in an escape room, you know what I'm saying, playing a game. You know what I'm saying? If we can't escape, we lose our life. Just a game. It wasn't happening for real, but it really happened to them. The game became real life. They was in this freaking room and couldn't escape, and they burned. And then the fact that, just think about 5 young teenage friends hanging out on a friend's birthday, having fun, and everything just ends, man, for all of them. Can you imagine those last moments while they was in that room together? Oh my God. What a way to start it off, my brothers and sisters. Wow, man.
Horrifyingly, one was able to call her father before becoming overwhelmed, being able to just utter the word, help. They all died after inhaling deadly carbon monoxide gas produced by the incomplete combustion of the blaze. News of this tragedy spread like wildfire, and within the day, it had reached international headlines.
A terrifying story out of Poland this morning as 5 teenage girls were killed when a fire broke out at a so-called escape room at a game center Friday.
A birthday celebration turned into tragedy. 5 girls, all just 15 years old, found dead after a fire at this escape room in northern Poland. The likely cause, according to authorities, carbon monoxide poisoning. The prosecutor blaming a gas leak in the heating system for the blaze, which also left a male employee hospitalized with severe burns.
And you know what? I gotta blame this freaking escape room, the company or whoever. The company need to get sued to the point where they go bankrupt. Like, seriously, man. And the reason I'm blaming them is because, okay, I get it. I get the concept of the escape room. There's no way out until you figure out the freaking puzzle or whatever. But we still need a freaking emergency, not exit, but an emergency button or something that will let this goddamn door open just in case of a freaking emergency. Like, seriously, man, they should have had that type of stuff in place, man. You don't literally have no way for these people to get out that is not a fail safe. Am I using the right word, my brothers and sisters? But y'all get what I'm talking about, man. It should have just been a big ass red button on the wall or something that you can push at any time and the freaking door open. I'm pissed off at that goddamn company, man. And I hope that they family sue the shit out of them. Let's go.
As the horrible news spread, the next day, locals attended the burnt-out venue to pay their respects, laying down flowers and toys in front. Many questioned why there was no fire escape, no fire procedure whatsoever, and why was there only one single member of staff to help the entire building.
Man,
the following week, several hundred community members attended a ceremony to mourn the deaths of the 5 lost too soon. In this photo, hundreds of residents can be seen walking to the cemetery to take part in the burial. In St. Casimir's Church, 2 white coffins and 3 heart-shaped urns, adorned with the girls' photos, were placed before the altar. Their RE teacher, who taught the students at their school, attended and said in their friendship they were and will remain together. They were together when their lives were ending, they are together here, and will rest together in the cemetery forever. Their coffins were laid to rest at a Koszalin cemetery to the sound of a song that one of them had written and recorded. As they were lowered into the earth, residents showered white roses upon the caskets, a symbol of innocence and youth. Now this entry...
Oh my God, man. Oh my God, I just had to stop it for a second, y'all. Woo!
seriously hit me while writing. It kind of reminded me of the Sewol. 5 15-year-olds lost to an avoidable and totally horrific tragedy. What most of them were thinking about as the fire engulfed the room, I just can't. To make things worse, the formal investigation that followed highlighted severe safety oversights, indicating that this was a disaster waiting to happen. It was revealed that the building had no proper safety inspections, the venue had been improperly converted from a residential house to an escape room without alerting the local authorities. If authorities had been aware, they would have checked it out and said that this building was not adequate for commercial use, as it lacked emergency exits or in fact any emergency response, relying solely on the member of staff who was working that day to evacuate guests should there be any issues. Locals and their families alike were furious and heartbroken at the total avoidable loss of life, demanding that someone be held responsible for this. These oversights in safety eventually led to legal actions against those responsible for the venue's operation. 4 would eventually be indicted, facing charges of intentionally creating an unsafe situation and unintentionally causing 5 deaths, each individual facing up to 8 years in prison. This tragedy quickly spurred a nationwide inspection of all their escape rooms. After inspecting just over 1,100 in Poland, 53 of these were shut down as they didn't even meet basic safety standards, while several more were ordered to make changes.
And see, it's so freaking sad, man, that those little young fire teenagers had to lose their life in order for that whole inspection of all these escape rooms to be even had. And they found out that 53 of them possibly could have, the same thing can happen in them. But it's so sad that they had to lose their life in order for that to even freaking happen. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad that they did end up, investigating all the escape rooms. But it's almost like a little too, what they say, too little, too late, whatever. It's some type of phrase I'm trying to use. But this shit got me pissed off at the same time, man. And sad too. Rest in peace.
This catastrophic event also brought about stricter safety regulations in escape rooms globally, even in the UK, increasing awareness of the importance of safety standards in entertainment venues. Now, 5 years on from this horrible incident, escape rooms continue to thrive. However, nowadays, it's actually very rare for any escape room to lock you up with no escape. Fire exits or emergency doors now feature in almost all escape rooms, almost guaranteeing that this awful, avoidable horror does not occur again.
Good, man. I just feel like you don't even need an extra door or nothing. I mean, it's good if you have a fire escape or something. Yes, you can have a fire escape, maybe. But what I'm saying, like, you don't need an extra door. All you need is a freaking button on the wall, my brothers and sisters. And a big-ass red button, like I said, man. I know y'all is imagining it in your brain right now. And if at any time that whoever in this game, they don't want to play no more or something going crazy, the freaking building on fire, you can push that goddamn button and that damn door will fly open. It's 2024, man. Come on, bro. That's easy technology to make nowadays. Maybe I'm being exaggerating with the big red button, but y'all get what I'm saying, man. Rest in peace to those 5 young, beautiful young ladies. Oh my God, man. It was so unavoidable then to happen on her birthday with her friends. Let's go to number 4. It's already crazy, y'all. Shout out to Ryan from Tragedy Tales. Number 4.
The height of summer is always the best time for an airshow. Bright blue skies mean great visibility, a major plus for both spectators and of course the pilots flying the planes. Plus, good weather means folks are more likely to leave their homes to see something awesome. In this case, the awesome thing that drew thousands out of their homes was to involve military fighter jets flying at high speeds in intricate formations. It certainly sounds impressive, and since the pilots were professionals, it would be safe, right?
Wrong. No, man, I just gotta say real quick. When I was little, I used to go watch to a couple of these, man, the air shows. I think that's what we call them, at least, air shows and stuff. But after watching Tragedy Tale, watching Ryan for so long, y'all, because this ain't his first story he done told about these air shows and what ended up happening, the Tragedy Tale of them. He done got me to the point where me as a grown as adult, I don't think I'll ever go to one again. Long story short, short story long, watching Ryan videos.
I bet the majority of the crowd at the Skinlive Airfield on the 27th of July 2002 likely felt the same, but I'm sure they don't anymore. That fateful day, as over 10,000 people gathered at an airfield near the city of Lviv in Ukraine, it was a special occasion. This year marked the 60th anniversary of the Ukrainian Air Force 14th Air Corps. Crowds were eager to get to the airfield to see a show performed with real military machines. With the clear skies above, the first plane to grace the skies that day was an AN-2, circling the military airfield, dropping paratroopers to the ground. Then 2 Yak-52s took flight, performing some truly jaw-dropping aerobatic stunts. However, the next aircraft to dazzle the crowd that day was an Su-27, a twin-engined supersonic fighter plane. This was the most anticipated machine of the show. This crazy fighter plane was to be piloted by two experienced flyers, Volodymyr Toponar and his co-pilot Yuriy Yegorov. With thousands cheering below, the pair took off shortly after midday, and for several minutes they wowed the crowd with their Soviet-built machine, showing off the Su-27's nifty capabilities. At 12:52 PM though, all hell broke loose, as the fighter jet entered a move known as the oblique loop with a turn. The plane swooped down low to the ground, and after one roll, suddenly the pilots realized that they were way too low to the ground to perform the trick. You can see on the video that they tried desperately to pull up to a safe altitude, but by now it was too late. The fighter jet continued to drop rapidly when suddenly the left side of the aircraft dipped even further, clipping a tree before striking the tarmac with incredible force. As crowds watched in complete shock, the plane then slid along the runway and cartwheeled its way across the asphalt, dragging 4 rows of barbed wire along with it before crashing into a stationary transport aircraft. The devastating impact caused the Su-27 to explode in a huge fireball and spin wildly out of control, with fire and debris headed straight for the fleeing crowd. Those closest to the crash had little chance of escape. Most of the first-hand accounts of this incident are truly horrifying. Many suffered debilitating mental illnesses from what they had to witness that day. There was one account of a man who was there that day. He watched as the jet killed his wife and son, leaving him stood there in the airfield, in his own words, covered in human meat. Horrifyingly, a total of 77 people lost their lives, including 28 children. The impact injured a further 543 people, with over 100 of these people needing hospital treatment for burns, head injuries, and bone fractures. Some people were hit by the plane and were walking around with clearly fatal injuries before they collapsed into the grass.
Now y'all see why I said even as a grown ass adult, I don't think I'm gonna ever go back to an L show, man. Jesus Christ, man. And they go all the way back to the beginning, what we was talking about, being teen, that these people going to have a good time. These little kids, just like I said when I was a little child, going to watch these planes do all these tricks and stuff, and just don't know that you about to end your life is about to end at this freaking our show. This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy. Let's go.
Incredibly, despite the devastation, the pilots, Volodymyr and Yuriy, managed to escape, suffering only minor injuries, having ejected from the plane moments before it impacted with the ground. However, their ordeal from this nightmare was far from over. In its search for answers, the Ukrainian government pointed the finger directly at the military air force. The Air Force General Viktor Strelnikov was fired from his position. Meanwhile, Volodymyr and Yuriy, plus 3 other military officials, were made to stand trial. They were accused of negligence, violating flight rules, and failing to follow orders. In the ensuing investigation, the majority of the blame fell onto the pilots. They were accused of trying maneuvers that they weren't skilled at an altitude that was not appropriate. The inquiry chief asserted that the main cause of the plane crash was a failure to respect the flight plan and aerial maneuvers that were not in the program. In Volodymyr's defense, he claimed that he did ask for extra training at the airfield where the show was taking place, but his request was turned down. Despite maintaining their innocence, the pilot and co-pilot were sentenced to 14 and 8 years in prison respectively. They were also ordered to pay the equivalent of 1.42 and $500,000 compensation to the families and those affected by the disaster. The co-pilot, Yuriy, eventually had his sentence reduced to 3.5 years, being released in 2008. 5 years later, in 2013, the main pilot, Volodymyr, was also released from prison. After his release, he was interviewed, where here he continued to reinstate his innocence, expressing that he was not to blame and that he and his co-pilot had simply been made scapegoats. He said, and I quote, "What happened was the fault of the organisers." He stated that planes must not fly over spectators, which has actually now been made illegal. You can't do this anymore. During the show, He said that he had to make several advanced maneuvers in just a few minutes. He said during the half barrel, he noticed the decreased thrust of both engines, and then the airspeed fell. He revealed that he'd struggled to lift the plane until the very last moment, and at which point he believed that he was going to die. His co-pilot, Yuri Yi, triggered the ejection, but the cause of the crash remains unknown.
Man, this is just crazy, y'all. This one here kind of pulling at my heart because I don't know about y'all, but just me personally, I don't believe those pilots tried to do that shit. I don't think they tried to do that, y'all. I don't think they tried to kill all those people and little children and stuff. They ain't go out there intentionally saying, yeah, we're going to crash this plane into all these people and see how many we can kill today. No, I don't believe that, man. But here go what a real talk got to come in at. Here go the real talk. They didn't try to do it, but they still got to be held responsible for it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they caused a lot of people's lives to end. And there's a lot of back and forth about what was the training like. Was they doing maneuvers that they weren't trained very well on doing? They weren't going the correct altitude. You know, there's a lot of back and forth on all that. But at the end of the day, what happened is they freaking plane ended a lot of people's lives. And it's so crazy that they didn't die too. That dude ejected at the right time, but they got to be held accountable for all those lies, man. They got to. I feel like they had to go to prison for a while, man. But at the same time, I honestly don't feel like they tried to do it. Let's go.
However, whatever the cause and whoever is to blame, this won't bring back the people that were lost. Sadly, up to this very day, there's still little comfort to be found for the victims of the deadliest airshow accident in history.
Crazy, man. Number 3.
Attending a music festival is a chance to let your hair down, soak up the good vibes, and watch your favourite artist perform on stage. Unfortunately, for the thousands of guests in attendance at the Atmosphere Dance Festival in Brazil, their day of celebration and joy would soon turn into one of shock and horror. On a seemingly ordinary Sunday afternoon of December the 17th, 2017, as many as 5,000 eager ravers gathered for the Atmosphere Dance Festival in Brazil, located at the Parque de Esportes Assis in the southern municipality of Esteo. But for a bit of background, the Atmosphere Dance Festival was a pretty famous 2-day annual rave party organised by the Brazilian organisers Atmosphere. Each year since 2012, they'd host a massive rave attracting thousands of people from far and wide. They'd blast out EDM music, shoot flames and pyrotechnics. The whole thing looks crazy fun. While the festival had remained in one place for a number of years, in November of 2017, the organisers revealed on their Facebook the new location of the festival. On the run-up to December the 17th, excitement was palpable. Atmosphere posted several times on their Facebook, advertising for the festival and showing the stage being constructed. However, the weather really wasn't looking good. In the days leading up to the 17th, it had been raining and it was very windy. Organisers just hoped that this would clear before the festival went ahead.
Oh my God, please don't tell me this is where we going in this story. Cause I remember a story from Ryan this probably a couple of months ago now, my brothers and sisters, about a freaking festival where they knew the weather was gonna be bad. And they still freaking had that festival and the whole freaking stage just collapsed. It looked like freaking off the Wizard of Oz. You ever seen when the damn house and Dorothy and Toto or Tuto, whatever the damn little dog name is, and they was spinning with the house and then you see the witch come around? That's how that damn stage look. Now, I know these people are not going to still have this festival in horrible weather. At least I hope not. Let's go.
However, on the morning of the 17th, the day that everyone was waiting for, much to everyone's disappointment, the weather had not improved. It was still overcast and windy. Checking the forecast, there were severe weather warnings issued throughout the entire day, even including the possibility of thunderstorms. But the bad weather wasn't going to stop them having a good time. The organisers were determined for the event to go ahead. After all, they'd retrieved all the necessary permits, and the 2 main stages that they'd built were designed to withstand gale force winds of up to 80 kilometers an hour, or around 50 miles an hour. It's a bit of wind. What could possibly go wrong?
Shit, a lot can go wrong, man. And then, I don't know, y'all. It's something about those crowds in the freaking like concert type of crowd, man, with the people all right by each other jumping around. And I guess I know because a lot of those people are freaking out there intoxicated and stuff. It just be seeming like a recipe for disaster, because I'm saying all this because I sound like a hypocrite, because the same crowd happened at air shows and a lot of other events or different sporting events, you know what I'm saying? But it's something about that crowd that's at a concert that's all jumping around and all intoxicated and crazy. Then when something pop off, yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like it makes it even worse when you're dealing with that type of crowd. Am I making sense? I don't know. Let's go.
So, that day, as the wind howled away, more than 5,000 intrepid partygoers gathered for Atmosphere. They crowded by the speakers and awaited the appearance of the DJ. Performing on the stage that day was a popular DJ by the name of Caleb. His full name was Caleb Freitas de Rosa, and he was well known in the industry for being an amazing DJ. As the Atmosphere Festival got going, Caleb's music blared through the speakers, the crowd of partygoers reveled in the booming sounds of EDM, and if anything, the strong winds only added to the fun, at least for a little while. Footage captured by revelers who pulled out their phones captured scenes of decorations flapping in the wind and the cheers of ecstasy as people struggled to hold on to their hats.
Bro, that wind blowing hard as fuck. Do y'all see how them flags or whatever the hell that is moving? That ain't no regular ass wind, man. If the only goddamn person who can convince me that will be performing that could convince me to go out there in that type of wind is goddamn Tupac Shakur. Anybody else, I would not be out there in that wind. But for Pac, I would. I ain't gonna lie.
As usual, it's all fun and games until suddenly it's not. Amidst the cheers and the thumping soundtrack, an almighty gust of wind ripped through the stage, tearing the large metal structure off the ground.
Oh!
The metal structure that loomed over the main stage and the DJ collapsed in an instant, bringing the party to a crashing halt.
Oh,
Some of the guests seemed oblivious to the tragedy at first, continuing to record, hoot and holler, and then the realization hit. This was serious. 3 people had...
They still sitting up there laughing, man. Y'all better get the fuck up out of there. But after I find out what happened, I don't give a damn if Pac was there or not. I would not go to that shit, y'all, if I known that was gonna happen.
Been struck by the heavy collapsing framework. They were lucky to escape with minor injuries. Sadly for DJ Caleb, the star of the show, the situation was far more serious. The metal frame had impacted with his head, causing grievous injuries. In all the chaos, Caleb was rushed to hospital with his uncle. Tragically, this devastating blow proved fatal. Caleb passed away on the way to the hospital.
Damn, man.
Later that same evening, Atmosphere posted a statement to their Facebook, accompanied by a photo with a black ribbon and the word luto, meaning mourning in Portuguese. On this post, organisers apologised for the tragic incident, stating that we always value the safety of our public, following all processes, praises and authorisations requested by local authorities. They ended this statement saying that they were heartbroken, that they'd lost a friend and an artist, adding that their top priority was to assist those injured and their families. A subsequent investigation found that promoters had ignored the weather warnings, citing the importance of their precious permits once again. And although the stage had been built to withstand 40-mile-an-hour winds, the gust of wind that caused its downfall was only registered at 35 miles an hour. So someone's lying somewhere. Whether the collapse was due to shoddy workmanship, negligence, or some other factors, it's impossible to tell.
Well, see, I don't give a damn, man, if the damn stage can sustain 40-mile-per-hour wind. The whole thing is, I don't care about that. Y'all shouldn't be out there anyway. Just the fact that the wind is freaking 40 miles per hour is enough. Period. I don't care if it can what is the word? Constrain it, read whatever. I can't even talk no more, man. I don't care about that. I care about the fact that weather is just that bad. So we need to not be out here right now, my brothers and sisters.
Sadly, however, I can't see that anyone was prosecuted for this fatal failure. The death of DJ Khaled sent reverberations through the EDM community and the festival community as a whole. Atmosphere returned the following year, and this time the weather was way better. It was gorgeous, in fact. The festival going down a treat. After the following year's event ended, the organisers posted that strong emotions were felt this past weekend. They said that they were aware that regaining trust is not easy, and even less easy to be forced to live with the pain and losses and learn from difficult lessons. They said they knew that the past cannot be changed, but together they hope to rewrite their ending. While it's correct they can rewrite their ending, they can't rewrite Caleb's. For him, he was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it cost him his life.
Rest in peace to him, man. Number 2.
No matter where an event's being held, be it indoors, in a confined space, or outdoors with plenty of room, there's always hazards to be aware of, and there's always a potential for unexpected tragedy.
True.
While both organisers and attendees are responsible for limiting the chance of catastrophe, to err is human, and sadly, as in this next case, a lack of foresight can sometimes prove fatal. On Friday, the 17th of October 2014, a crowd of 700 people attended an outdoor concert at Pangyo Techno Valley in the city of Seongnam in South Korea. Pangyo Techno Valley, known as PTV, is often referred to as the Silicon Valley of Korea. It's a sprawling site filled with research facilities that often serves as a hub for technology startup companies. Many in the crowd that day had been working at these facilities, as most were in their 30s and 40s and could be seen wearing suits and business attire. What better way to blow off some steam after a hard day's work than to attend a concert held in the open, fresh air? Taking to the stage that day was the all-female pop group 4 Minute. Known for their edgy dance pop style, they were a big draw, and as soon as they started their setlist, the audience jostled for position, eager to enjoy the show. All was going to plan. The crowd was enjoying it, the music was blasting, but for some people in the crowd who wanted to get a better view, the evening was about to take a turn for the worst. Crowds began noticing an elevated platform that stood at shoulder height to the rest of the crowd. More than 24 people clambered onto the structure, which measured 3 to 4 meters, or around 10 to 12 feet wide. Its outer edges were made from concrete, but what the crowd would have not realized was that this was in fact a ventilation grate. It was not designed for people to stand on, and it was never considered that people were going to stand on this to watch the show. Others in the crowd attempted to warn the climbers, telling them to get down and that it was dangerous. However, perhaps due to the loud music, or the fact that the grate was continuing to hold, these warnings fell on deaf ears. After all, they were getting a better view at the concert. It was brilliant. But, all of a sudden, it all goes wrong. Eventually, under all the weight of the concert goers, the ventilation grate gave way and all the people plummeted 10 to 20 meters, or around 30 to 60 feet, into an underground car park below.
That is some that is some craziness that we ain't never heard before over here, my brothers and sisters. People freaking on a damn crate. A whole bunch of people on this mother, and all of them fell that far. Oh my God. Man, tragedy tale, boy, you never fail to amaze me. You never cease to amaze me.
As these people tumbled to their deaths, 4 Minute continued to dance and the crowd watched on for a while, unaware of what dreadful tragedy had just unfolded. As one witness later recalled, there was a sudden, loud screaming, and when I turned, it looked as if people were being sucked into a hole. Those closest to the grate began to gather around and took a look into the new void that had appeared, and only then the extent of the disaster became known. Firefighters and ambulances quickly arrived at the scene, but they were met with an awful sight. 12 people had been killed by the fall, 2 more died from their injuries on the way to the hospital, and a further 2 people passed away while receiving medical treatment. In total, 16 souls were lost, and another 11 people were seriously injured. They only had those who were dead to thank for the fact that they were alive, as they most likely broke their fall. In the days following the incident, South Korea's then Prime Minister, Chung Hong-won, visited the site with rescue workers to pay respects and start the investigation.
Man, rest in peace to the 16 people that lost their lives, but even the people that survived, y'all, do you know how much of a horrible nightmare that would be for the rest of your life? How many times you would go to sleep and remember that moment? And it happened so fast, from the time that the damn grate broke and they fell to the time they was on the ground. I bet it went by so fast, but they can remember every little moment of it at the same time. It went by fast, but at the same time, it went by slow because you can remember every freaking second. You know what I'm saying? That is terrible. And the fact that they life potentially was saved because other people broke their fall, the people that end up dying broke their fall to kind of save their lives. Not even saying they did it intentionally or not. That'll kind of mess with you too. Like, why me? Why am I the one who still lived through this? That was a lot of people falling to their death at one time, all grouped up. Can you imagine the sound? Whoo! But I swear Ryan is bringing it on this one, y'all. Let's go.
As a country, South Korea has endured many tragedies where planning and safety standards have been called into question. This deadly collapse came just 6 months after the sinking of the Sewol, a terribly negligent incident which I've already covered on this channel, which caused the deaths of over 300 people, most of which were students.
And I'll never forget that. I would never forget that because that's one of the rare times over here on our channel, y'all, I actually cried. I actually had tears coming down my eyes, man. I would never forget that. If y'all ain't never watched that, man, go back and find it, my brothers and sisters. I got the Tragedy Tale playlist up. Go check that out.
After this incident, the public outrage was at an all-time high, many demanding that officials review the safety standards that have often been criticised for being too lax.
That one, that's some, Mr. Baller can kind of make a story out of that one, y'all. For them to fall through that grate, that is just craziness. And there was so many of them, all that weight, and it broke. Woo! Let's go to numero uno. Number 1.
All festivals and parades begin with noble aims: to bring people together, and of course, to turn a cheeky profit. While organisers can spend all day long trying to figure out safety and security, ensuring that things never go out of control, of course, life always finds a way. This terrible tragedy unfolded in Duisburg, a city located in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany, on the 24th of July, 2010. That fateful day was the day that literally millions of Germans were waiting for, the infamous Love Parade. If you're not familiar with this tragedy, I guess you're wondering what a Love Parade is. Well, the Love Parade was a massive annual festival hosted in Germany, starting in 1989 in Berlin as a peace demonstration celebrating the fall of the Berlin Wall. The Love Parade quickly evolved into one of the world's largest techno music festivals, each year attracting hundreds of thousands of visitors from across the globe. While the Love Parade featured main stages with bands playing, the main big attraction for most was the Love Parade floats. Instead of being decorated like typical floats in parades that you'd usually see, these special Love Parade floats would instead be outfitted like heavy-duty trucks, featuring large speakers and subwoofers with DJs in each one. Each truck was like a little mobile disco. These DJs would blast out techno music and other types of house electronic dance music. These floats would then slowly move along a designated route along the city streets. These routes would often span several kilometers long. Attendees would dance and follow alongside these floats, partying to the music being played.
Do y'all see all them freaking people in these crowds, my brothers and sisters? I'm telling y'all, man, watching Ryan got me terrified of being in a crowd like that, man. Just watching them got me nervous. Oh my God.
Partygoers would paint their body with bright colors and would flock, often in their hundreds of thousands, and in later events, in their millions, to the streets to catch these floats, dance, and spread messages of love and unity. There was also a main stage event hosted later on in the day where several artists were due to play on the big stage. It does sound quite cool. It's quite a unique experience. Over the years, the Love Parade grew dramatically in size and popularity. But just because the Love Parade's intentions were good, that doesn't mean that it's immune to tragedy. One of the earliest warning signs for the 2010 event was the change in location. When officials in Berlin said no to hosting the event where it was usually held, likely because of all the waste the event had generated in the past, the Love Parade picked up and headed to the city of Duisburg in West Germany. Even before the day, many concerns had been raised as to whether the city of Duisburg could host such a large event. The city itself was home to 500,000 residents, and the chosen venue location, which was actually an old freight station, only had the capacity of 250,000. The festival grounds were located in the northern section of the former freight station. Inside this festival grounds sat a main stage for the day's climax, characterized by circling DJ trucks. Previous Love Parades suggested a turnout of close to 1 million people, whereas Berlin was suited to this influx of people with its wide avenues and parks preventing overcrowding. The confined area of Duisburg just did not.
So why did they continue with the freaking parade then, man? Dude, y'all expecting 1 million, up the millions and millions of people to come to this freaking parade, but y'all only got the capacity for 250,000 for only 25% of the people that y'all expecting, of the what it is, millions and millions of people y'all expecting. Y'all only can hold 25% of people, but y'all still let it happen. Like, come on, man, this is just a recipe for disaster.
Despite these worries, the parade went ahead as expected. On the morning of the 24th of July, visitors began arriving en masse at Duisburg for the Love Parade via the train station. To access this festival area, attendees had to navigate through either 2 entrance points, one to the east and one to the west. The one to the east led underground through a tunnel, while the one to the west was nestled between several underpasses. Both entrances converged at the primary entrance, a tunnel that served as the entrance and exit leading into the festival grounds. While there was an adjacent smaller exit ramp, it wasn't used that much, and the main tunnel was the one that was used the most. For some reason, temporary fences were put up on this main exit and entrance tunnel, narrowing the tunnel to just 28 meters, despite planning documents stating that this should be at least 45 meters wide. The event experienced delays, starting an hour later than planned, at noon rather than 11. This meant by the time the entrance gates even opened, colossal crowds had already gathered. Nevertheless, despite the overflowing crowds of people, the parade eventually kicked off in the event area shortly after 2 p.m, with over 500,000 people in attendance, just over double the advised maximum capacity. The event proceeded without issues for the first 3.5 hours. However, the crowd reached extreme numbers that they didn't think was even possible. At 10 to 4, the police established a blockade at the west entrance, barring any new arrivals or departures. Shortly thereafter, a second blockade was set up at the alternative east entrance. At approximately 12 minutes past 4, the police set up a third barricade at the narrowest part of the main entrance and exit tunnel, effectively severing the primary route for festival goers entering and exiting. At this point, all routes in and out were blocked. Within minutes, large crowds began gathering on each side, unable to leave or enter. With the crowd growing denser and denser, the situation quickly escalated. At 13 minutes past 4, just 1 minute after the main tunnel was sealed, the eastern cordon unexpectedly gave way, unleashing an avalanche of people that rushed towards the main entrance. By 20 past 4, the blockade at the western entrance was lifted, removing the last barrier to the main tunnel. However, as attendees rushed to the party, they were also confronted by the third still active cordon. This made the bottleneck even worse. Over the following 20 minutes, chaos ensued. Visitors streamed in from both entrances completely unchecked, converging on the already packed main tunnel entrance. Desperation mounted quickly, driving people to find any possible escape. Many headed for the stairwells flanking the entrance, while others climbed to nearby billboards and light towers in a frantic attempt to escape the crush. As the situation worsened, some people were dragged off the stairs by others, some were trampled, while the majority were forced against the concrete walls and other people. As one officer described the scene, it wasn't long before it became a living hell in there. Breathing soon became a luxury, and things got seriously dangerous. At each entrance, loudspeakers now warned visitors that the festival was closed and that they should turn back, but this didn't stop most. They ignored the warnings and joined in on the nightmare. By now, the total number of people at the event was reported to have reached 1.4 million.
Oh my God, 1.4 million people in a place that only can hold 250,000. Like I said, man, this just was a recipe for freaking disaster, dude. And it's like they just all got funneled in, man. Oh my Jesus. This one is crazy too, y'all. Just the amount of people in this place that they cannot fit in, but they still in there.
Footage captured at 20 to 5 shows a seriously horrible scene. A woman who was trapped in the crowd later described seeing twisted up bodies of those who had been crushed. They were lying at the tunnel exit. Their faces had all turned blue. People likened it to squeezing through the eye of a needle. Everyone completely panicked, leading to a stampede, though later analysis dismissed this notion, instead referring to it as crowd turbulence.
Crowd turbulence? That was a stampede, y'all. That's what I said at the beginning, man. Like large crowds like that, if a stampede break out, any and everybody can die. Anybody could fall, trip, get pushed down, whatever. And once you fall and you got millions of people in this motherfucker running, they gonna run over your body till you die, man. Like literally. And dying from a freaking stampede is just terrible when you think about it. Just how your body get beat up to the point where you die. Oh my God, man. It's like, yes, a lot of the police, everybody, it's a lot of people you can blame for this one who need to be sued and all that. But if you just think about it, it's just like nothing could even make me halfway feel good about how this happened, because y'all knew all these damn people was gonna be here. We talking about a lot of people, my brothers and sisters. We talking about a lot of people, man. And y'all still allowed this shit to happen. Now look what happening.
Incredibly, many of the festival goers who managed to reach the parade area continued dancing even up to the early evening, completely unaware of what happened in the entrance tunnel just meters away. Apparently, officials made the decision not to inform the crowd about the incident, believing that it was now safer for the event to proceed without causing further panic. Horrifically, in all the carnage of that day, 21 people lost their lives. 21 people were crushed to death, crushed mostly between the staircase and the billboard on the ramp area. Autopsies revealed that every single one of the fatalities were due to completely crushed rib cages. A further 600 people sustained some form of injury, having to go to the hospital and dealing with mental issues from this event. In the aftermath, 4 employees of the event company Lope Event and 6 city officials stood trial on charges of negligent manslaughter and bodily harm, which of course they denied. Prosecutors contended that serious errors in planning and authorizing the event, along with inadequate safety measures, had contributed to the tragedy. Meanwhile, the defense argued that multiple factors had played a role. During the trial, it was revealed that police radios that day had malfunctioned, causing a lack of communication between the police, fire crews, and event organizers when the crush occurred. 9 years later, in February of 2019, the charges against the 7 accused were dropped due to the complexity of assessing individual guilt among multiple defendants. 1 year later, the case reached its 10-year statute of limitations, meaning that ultimately, nobody will ever face justice for this horrible disaster. This incident marked the end to the Love Parade, as after this, the organisers chose to cancel the event forever. However, in 2023, after a 12-year hiatus, the Love Parade reopened in Berlin under the name Rave the Planet, with the safety of their participants now being their top priority. That year, over 200,000 people attended, filling the streets of Berlin once more with happiness and joy, rather than death and tragedy as they did before.
Oh, man. That one there, it just, like I said, man, anybody who got charged and would have went to jail for this, I feel like there are people who should have been held accountable for this. But it's just like, it don't even, that don't even do justice how stupid y'all was, man. Like, dude, 1.4 million in a 250, I know I keep saying that, my brothers, talking about the capacity of this place, but it's like, how stupid, you so damn stupid, so I don't even want to entertain your stupid ass. That's how it is with it, man. It's like, oh my God, that one there got me so freaking frustrated. Let's finish it up. Hear what Ryan got to say at the end.
But that is the end of the video.
Wow, that's what I thought. Wowzers trousers.
This one was brutal. May the 21 people who passed away in this terrible crowd crush, along with the rest of the people featured in this video, rest in peace.
True.
Now, genuinely, it doesn't even cross my mind when I go to a festival or a nightclub that it could explode, or it could set on fire, or could become overcrowded, leading to my untimely demise. But that's life. Things get sprung on you at any moment. Each of us have no idea what's round the corner. The 5 girls who lost their lives in an escape room, the entire thing should have never happened. When you enter an establishment like the one they did, you expect that they've thought through every possible scenario. But in this case, it seems nothing was considered at all. No safety, no nothing. It was literally a house converted into a business for some quick cash. This one hit me particularly hard because they were so young, and the funeral broke my heart. The stage collapse in Brazil. That footage was wild, considering the stage was capable of withstanding 50 miles an hour wind, and that the gust that took it down was just 35 miles an hour. It does make one wonder, who is to blame? Did someone cut corners? Was it not built right? Or was it just a case of, that's life? Who knows? The Ukrainian airshow that turned into the most deadly airshow accident in history was truly shocking. The fact that so many children lost their lives just having a day out with their mum and dad is just terrible. While the pilots did request more training and were denied, I honestly think that they're going to suffer enough with their mistake. They're both going to have to suffer a life of knowing what horrors they inadvertently caused, regardless of a sentence. The great tragedy in South Korea is truly nightmare fuel. Falling to your death when you're just watching a show with your friends, it just doesn't bear thinking about. While safety was considered, they never thought that crowds would start climbing onto the surrounding area. But last, and certainly not least, the Love Parade. A sequence of bad decisions, poor planning, and poor crowd management. Some of the testimonies I read about this entry were truly shocking and horrifying. The thought of being trapped in a sea of people makes my hair stand on end, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But of course, most importantly, what did you guys think? What do you guys think of this one? As always, I'm interested in all of your thoughts below. You guys know I do read every single comment, but if you made it this far into the video and you've not subscribed, go ahead and tap that subscribe button now and click the notification bell to be alerted at when I release content such as this. But I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Man, my brothers and sisters, I ain't lying. I think that's probably Ryan's best video, y'all. Seriously, man, all 5 of those freaking stories are just freaking mind-blowing to me. Like, just crazy. Like, this craziness, these tragedy tales never cease to amaze me and have me like, what the is going on, man? Seriously. As far as, let's just start at the first, well, number 5. Or the first one, the last one we just watched, man. Let's start at that one first real quick, y'all. Like I said, man, can you imagine, my brothers and sisters, can you imagine being stuck inside a crowd, a sea of people, like funneled in, you funneled in this crowd, and there, when I say sea of people, I mean 1.4 million people, like all around you, and if you just wanted to run and get out real quick, you couldn't do it. You literally are trapped, man. And then when people start running, like I said, it's so easy for you to fall, trip, whatever. And once you fall, it's very rare that you're going to be able to get back up, because we got so many people running. It's like an ant pile, my brothers and sisters. Just like you literally looking at an ant pile. That was what we were looking at that little parade thing, man. But just rest in peace to those 21 people that lost their lives, man. Rest in peace to them. What was number 2? What was number 2, my brothers and sisters? Let's see real quick. Number 2. Oh my God, man. Them people who fell off the grate, like, they ain't have no idea. And the way that they freaking died is just so terrible, man. Cause can you just imagine falling with a group of people, like literally falling to your death? Can you imagine the darkness, how y'all up there just dancing, paying attention to, you know, the act on the stage, the performers on the stage, and then you fall, like you just feel something break under you, and now it's a whole bunch of y'all just screaming or whatever. I can't even imagine what was said in that little moment before they actually hit the freaking ground. And then the people who actually survived, they gotta live with that forever. That gonna be a nightmare for freaking ever, man. Rest in peace to those people too, man. The third one is the stage collapsing. We have been over that before, man. We have watched that before with a freaking stage, with the stage collapse. But it's like y'all could have avoided this. That wind was blowing way too goddamn hard for them to be having a concert. Like, seriously, man, like, dude, I don't even care about how late, and that's what I was trying to say earlier, man, but Ryan had me so twisted up. But I was trying to say, like, man, I don't even care about what this stage can sustain. I don't care about that. It's the fact that I put it this way. This stage could sustain 100-mile-per-hour wind, but that don't mean my ass gonna be out there when it's 80 miles per hour. You know what I'm saying? Just because the stage can sustain it, and I feel like they should have not been out there then. Rest in peace to that guy right there, man. The DJ that lost his life out that one. And it's messed up, but at least we can say he's the only one. I know that sound messed up, my brothers and sisters, because he still lost his life, but I know y'all get what I mean. And the second one that we watched, what was that one, my brothers and sisters? Oh man, the airplanes. I'm serious, y'all. I might not never go back to a freaking air show ever, man. And it's so sad on that one because I feel like those dudes didn't really try to do it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't try to do that, man. It just happened. But it pulled at my heart because even though they didn't try to do it, at the end of the day, man, you got to be charged with it, man. You got to be charged with it. Somebody got to be held accountable, man. I think Ryan said like 50 or 70 some people lost their life. I know, I remember he said 28 children. You know what I'm saying? Then there's a lot of blaming going back and forth on who really is to blame. But at the end of the day, they the ones who was in in the jet, plane, whatever, flying it, and they caused a lot of lives to be lost, whether they meant to do it or not. So I feel like they should have been did sometime and been held accountable. And the first one that we watched, y'all, Ryan started it off with just what is going on, man. 5 young, beautiful girls, man, lost their lives on one of the girls' freaking birthday. They all going out to have a good time at this escape room, and I just feel like that's the most BS one, because that was so unavoidable. Like, seriously, man. But this little rinky-dink ass escape room just trying to make them a quick buck, ain't got no safety precautions. And y'all know how I was talking about the button on the wall, the big red button on the wall. Just hit the freaking button and the damn door open. They didn't have none of that fail-safe type stuff set up in case some go bad. And this went terribly bad with the freaking fireman. And those girls, oh my God, can you imagine those last seconds that they spent together? They literally died together in this room, friends. On one of their and one of them, it was their freaking birthday. Like, they went to it, and like I said, it was ironically bad because they went to an escape room, and the escape room turned to real life on them. You know what I'm saying? They went from a game to real life threatening. You know what I'm saying, man? And they end up losing their life too. So rest in peace to them. But I digress, my brothers and sisters. I already know, man, we have been here long enough, man. I just appreciate y'all coming on back as always, especially when we get to go back to my brother from another rhyme from Tragedy Tales. I'm serious, y'all. This may be the best video we ever seen from him, man. All 5 of those stories was just excelente. But y'all just please, before you leave, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And come on back tomorrow for another That Chapter Wednesday. But until then, my friends, y'all know y'all gotta remember this. Love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.